Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Evan Wall Media broadcast of the Bandit Racing League. We're here today at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway for the Vice City 250. Got 3 minutes left in practice now. Currently, Nick Nickerson in the 2 car sitting at the top of your board. Here you see him heading back out on the track. But real quick before we get started with that, if you're new here, had a couple new people follow and like my Facebook page because of some of the pictures I took over the weekend at the Snowball Derby. So if you're new here, this is something that I do other than photography. I broadcast iRacing. Currently broadcasting the Bandit Racing League. This is their next to last race of the season. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and pull up our point standings. Ricky Hart Jr., of course, sitting at the top of the point standings with 5 wins so far on the season. 598 points, but following closely behind him is the 13 car of Garrett Hall. A great run from him. He's been a very consistent driver all season and able to make it up to the second spot in points right now. Now fighting for that position is the 99 car of Brandon Jackson and the 2 of Nick Nickerson, both of them sitting with 2 wins, sitting in 3rd and 4th. Almost tied for 4th, and that's where it gets really close. 29 car of Robert Mathis, only 6 points behind Nickerson. Trey Ellis only 2 behind Mathis. Kevin Foster only 4 points behind Trey Ellis. So it gets really tight when we look down through the point standings all the way down to about 7th place. Even though Ricky Hart Jr. has kind of run away with the first position, 2nd through about 7th place is still pretty tight. Got a minute and a half left in practice right now, so if we pull it up, Nick Nickerson, of course, sitting in 1st place. And I want to give a shout-out to the 52 car of Jason Greenwell, a new driver here for the Bandit Racing League. This is going to be his first race with us. But for some reason, his number is not showing up correctly like all the other ones are, so the car with the blank number is going to be the number 52 car of Jason Greenwell, currently sitting 3rd place in practice right now. But of course, like I said before, Nick Nickerson, he's up there in points. He was up as far as 2nd at one point. He may have been in the lead at one point. I don't know, but he was very close to Ricky Hart Jr. for a long time. He's just got a little bit unlucky and fell back some. You can see he's leading practice right now, and he's definitely one of the favorites to win this race. You can see him in the background back there. A couple drivers haven't taken a time. Ricky Hart Jr.'s just jumped in the session here. He's sponsoring today's race, the Materia Tattoo Vice City 250 here at Homestead, Miami.
You mentioned Ricky Hart Jr. He's our points leader. He looks like he will clinch it if he starts the next race at Charlotte. So we have a very close race from 2nd on back, from about 7th or 2nd to 6th place. I think they're all within about 20 points of each other. So that should be a very interesting battle here as we race tonight here at Homestead.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very interesting last 2 races. And now, Brett, you were out there on the track a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about how the track's feeling, what the car feels like? Is it tight, loose? What's the fuel window going to be like?
With this high downforce configuration, you see a car just dart across the track there. But as you can see, the high downforce setup on these cars, the very big spoiler, makes the cars very aerodependent. Most of these cars are very close to running almost flat foot around the track, about 2 or 3 laps into the run, and then slowly the tires start to wear away. But you generally never have the car completely in the track. It doesn't feel very comfortable out there. I think these guys are going to be having a hard time, especially lap 10 on.
All right, so here we're looking at qualifying just now getting started. First car out on the track is the 2 car of Nick Nickerson that we've been watching. We've also got...
Yeah, he looked...
Oh, go ahead.
Looked very quick. It looked very quick in practice, Nick Nickerson. I believe he had the fastest time in practice.
He's definitely always a fast driver, and he'll be up there competing. I don't believe he can compete for the first position in points, but he's definitely battling for that 2nd spot, as are the other 6 or 7 drivers that are around him in points.
Certainly, I think we'll see a few of the typical top runners here. Brandon Jackson, Nick Nickerson, Ricky Hart Jr., maybe even some new players like um, we had just watched Jason Greenwell actually just join our race for the first time, so we might see him up there at the front. He's been putting down quite some good laps.
Yes, he was one of the fastest cars in practice here today. Just real quick, while we're showing off qualifying, we're going to go to our dual screen setup. So here, half of your screen is going to be the race as usual. In the other half of the screen, you're seeing Garrett Hall in the top left, Matt Crockett in the bottom left, Jason Greenwell in the top right, and Brandon Jackson in the bottom right. The 4 drivers that have in-car cameras through Skype here today. So right now, Nick Nickerson sitting on pole position here at Homestead, Miami. Greenwell sitting in second place, though. Again, Greenwell will be in the 52 car, even though it doesn't show up on screen. Here you can see his car on track right now. It is the 52 car. We've got good laps from Foster, Fuller, Mathis, Ellis. A lot of guys putting down good laps here. Still yet to see from Brandon Jackson and Ricky Hart Jr. Sitting in first and third place in points.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do here. Generally, they're not ones to really want to qualify. They tend to want to start at the back and work their way up and kind of challenge themselves in the first stint of the race. And I mean, it doesn't take them long, but you'll see from about lap 15 on, they'll be up there competing with the leaders.
Definitely some of the fastest drivers in the field. Neither of them have taken a qualifying lap yet.
See the 93 of Alan Castle. He was our winner at Talladega in a wild finish where many of the front-running cars ended up in a big colossal crash.
A very wild finish. If you haven't seen that broadcast, that's definitely one to go back and rewatch. Talladega. In Talladega fashion, that finish was.
As we see the cars flash by, you notice they have quite some eccentric paint schemes here tonight. They're all running in a very Miami theme to a few of these cars. So I think you'll see a lot of pink, a lot of teal, a lot of green on these cars, as they're all trying to emulate that Miami Vice or that Vice City theme.
69 car Brandon Trogdon coming in the pits. Now you can see the 99 car Brandon Jackson out on the track making his qualifying lap. And as he does that, we're going to go ahead and ride in car with him as he goes around the track.
The man in the black and the pink 99 goes into turn 1, drives down about a car length off the white line, right in the black, comes out of 2, heads down the back straightaway, tries to hold it steady here. See what kind of type of line he runs in it. It's a little bit loose on entry, but you'll have that running over the hump into 3, right through the middle of 3 and 4, out to the wall, a little bit loose out of 4, headed duck down to the start-finish line.
Up to second place with his first lap.
Yep, certainly one thing that I did notice is that these cars can be very free, especially on entry and exit of these corners. You notice that these guys are turning right quite a lot, especially whenever they're getting in the gas, like you see right there with Brandon Jackson. He's all over that wheel. He's probably got all hands and feet up on that wheel.
See, coming out with second position, so he will be starting on the outside of the front row in the 99 car. See, I believe if you want to watch his in-car view all night, you can find him on Twitch. I believe it's Street Boss 24 on Twitch. Pretty sure that's it. It says it on the back of his car there.
Yep, I think if you follow iRacing, he'll be running a lot of Cup, a lot of Xfinity type races. He'll be trying to do a lot of the weekly races that are worth a lot of prestige and a lot of iRating. So he's one to run quite a lot of races in these cars.
Also, we only have one other driver on track right now. It's going to be the 32 car of Terry Condis.
Seems to be making his own track out there in the infield.
You're just having a little bit of fun since we've still got a little bit of time before this race starts. Since we do have a little bit of time before this race starts, let me go ahead and mention that if you're a driver looking to join a league, Bandit Racing League is where you want to be, open to D-class drivers and above. And as you can see from any of my broadcasts, very clean group of guys. So if you're interested in that, you can go to their website, banditracingleague.com, or look them up on Facebook, Bandit Racing League. Get your own chance to be on the broadcast like these guys are. So we still haven't seen a lap time, though, from the 64 car of Ricky Hart Jr. A little bit surprising. There he is sitting on pit road. Here he comes to take a lap. Not with his normal paint scheme.
Yeah, that paint scheme is much brighter than we see out of his normal paint scheme. I think everybody is kind of filling in with this theme. This theme tonight of the Miami look, the teal and the pink, or the turquoise and the pink. I'm not really sure which color that is, but
you're definitely drawing into the Miami theme. One of the only drivers in a car other than a Ford here. I was about to say in a Toyota, but really just in a car other than a Ford. Almost all the drivers here tonight going to be driving Mustangs. Ricky Hart Jr., Alan Castle.
Only one besides Ricky Hart Jr., I think, is Alan Castle, from what I remember, running a Toyota. But I'm not really sure if he is running a Toyota tonight, so we'll have to take a look at it here when the race starts.
All right, with his first lap up to 9th position for the 64 car, we'll see if he can speed it up his second time around the track.
Yeah, he always says he's not much of a qualifier. Generally, you see him come along in the race, and there's no doubt that he's one of the top contenders. He is our points leader.
That's one thing we've seen from him all season. He doesn't have the best qualifying time. He's always in the top half of the field, I would say, but usually his qualifying time is great as he hops up to third place right now. But usually his qualifying time isn't necessarily great, but 5 wins on the season and could have easily had a couple more with just a little bit of luck. So yeah, definitely a fast driver.
Somewhat like 4 in a row or something like that, when I remember in the beginning of the season. I think it was 4 in a row.
I believe so. At the very beginning of the season, it seemed like he couldn't be beat.
Yeah, certainly. As we look down the qualifying order so far, Nick Nickerson first, Brandon Jackson second, Ricky Hart Jr. in third. As we got the Jason Greenwell, our newcomer, in fourth, Trey Ellis fifth, Garrett Hall sixth, Kevin Hart in seventh, and Wesley Fuller eighth, Brandon Trogdon in ninth, and Robert Mathis running on our top 10.
The only driver who has not taken a time yet is going to be Tyler Rowland in the 43 car. So he'll start back in 14th position.
Yeah, from what I see there, it's very competitive times. I think the top 10 is all within about 4/10 of each other. So generally that gap is a little bit more spread out than that. So very competitive night here as we get into the race.
As we get ready to grid here, we're going to look at our front row. Maybe the number 2 car of Nick Nickerson, Brandon Jackson. We'll just slowly scroll through this as these drivers get ready. Second row, we've got the 64 car of Ricky Hart Jr. Sitting in 4th place, the 52 car of Jason Greenwell. By next week, his picture and updated number will be on there. Sitting in 5th place, the 4 car of Trey Ellis, followed by the 13 of Garrett Hall. Then we got the 8 car of Kevin Foster, the 35 of Wesley Fuller. Behind him, the 69 of Brandon Trogdon, and the 29 of Robert Mathis. Then we got the 10 car, Matt Crockett, and the 93 of Alan Castle. Then we got the 32 of Terry Condis, rounding out 13th position. Then in 14th position, the 43 of Tyler Rowland, who did not take a time. Looking down your field right there, definitely a lot of bright colors. All the cars will definitely be seen here tonight as we transition into nighttime here at Miami for the Vice City 250. Sponsored by Materia Tattoo. It was Ricky Hart Jr. sponsoring this race, your points leader. Of course, he always has Materia Tattoo on his car. Doesn't tonight, but it's up there in the top left corner. All right, drivers are finally moving. Pace car heading onto the track. You see, right now we're riding on board with the 35 car of Wesley Fuller. And in front of him, you see the 13 car of Garrett Hall, who in my opinion has some of the funniest paint schemes. Right now you're looking at his very, very bright Ford Mustang.
Yep, you can see the very violent eyes of the rear bumper of that car.
Yeah, anyone who is behind the 13 car tonight is definitely going to be stared down. As the pace car is off in the field, is heading to green. The number 2 car of Nick Nickerson leading the field with the 99 of Brandon Jackson on the outside. Ricky Hart Jr. in the 64 in 3rd place. Trey Ellis in the 4 car.
Oh, the 99 of Brandon Jackson gets loose out of 2. Hangs on to it and still maintains the top 5 position.
3 wide right now as Brandon Jackson's falling back a little bit. 4 car of Trey Ellis and the new driver, the 52 of Jason Greenwell, gaining a little bit of position. Oh, Greenwell gets loose.
We've got a little bit of an accident. We didn't have any of the cars spin out or anything, so I think they're still going to be able to roll here.
Everybody still moving, but the 52 car of Jason Greenwell just getting a little bit loose out of that corner. Seems like everybody is loose here tonight. Get our standings on the left side. Nick Nickerson, he's your leader still. And a good ways out in front, which that's probably the safe place to be looking as loose as some of these cars are. Ricciard Jr. sitting in second place, followed by Trey Ellis. And then we got Kevin Foster, Garrett Hall, and Brandon Jackson, 3 wide right here down the backstretch. Brandon Jackson with the advantage, though. Jackson out in front. It's going to be the 13 of Garrett Hall on the inside. Kevin Foster up there on the outside. Into the wall a little bit for him. Oh, and we're going to have trouble. Robert Mathis getting down a little bit too low there. See, Brandon Jackson now has extended his gap back to 5th place. And Garrett Hall, good to get out of that little bit of trouble. He's the one sitting in 5th, followed by the 69 of Brandon Trogdon. Go back a little bit more. We got the 35 of Wesley Fuller, Tyler Rowland. And we got Terry Condis pressuring the 43 right now. And Robert Mathis, after that little bit of contact with the wall, and I believe one other driver at one point, back down to 14th position right now. Definitely slow for that 29 car, and unfortunate for him. But Nick Nickerson out front, still your leader after lap 6 of 100 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Ricciard Jr., though. We look out the back of Nick Nickerson. You can see Ricciard Jr. back there closing the gap, as he always does, looking to be here at the end of the race. So these drivers a little bit spread out now. Here's Trey Ellis. Bright paint scheme for him. Brandon Jackson riding along here in 4th position right now. And we got the 35 of Wesley Fuller looking to the inside of the 43 of Tyler Rowland. Rowland running a little bit higher line than the 35 is. Fuller keeps looking to the inside, but not able to get anything happen. Not able to get anything to happen. Gonna stay in 7th and 8th position. Everybody.
So I had to look back at the one of those earlier wrecks. Wesley Fuller had actually gotten into the back of the 29 of Robert Mathis, but that was because the 8 of Kevin Foster had got into the wall, and that's what ended up causing Robert Mathis to drop back quite a bit. So Wesley Fuller was actually involved in that one of those first 2 wrecks.
Definitely unfortunate for the 29 car of Robert Mathis. If we get a caution at some point, we may go back, see if we can see an instant replay, but as loose as some of these cars look, I feel like if we break away from the action, at any point anything could happen.
Yeah.
You see the 10 car, Matt Crockett looking to make the pass on the 35, and he's able to do it. The fast car in qualifying was that 52 car of Jason Greenwell, the new driver. It's his first race with us, but a little bit of trouble there on the start. Now he's sitting back in 12th position. Definitely still has time to come up. It's only lap 11 of 100, but unlucky for him that he's already toward the back of the pack now. 93 of Alan Castle looking to his inside.
It's very daunting task to come into a league like this and expect things to go your way immediately. I believe he was fast in practice and qualifying, but it doesn't always culminate to the first few laps of the race, as we have seen. As we watch him run around, he's in the 12th position, right ahead of Alan Castle. They are about 12 seconds back of our leader, Nick Nickerson.
And speaking of Nick Nickerson, just checking out on the field right now, other than Ricciart Jr., of course. Ricciart Jr. about a second back from Nickerson. You can see him there.
Yeah, I think these two are the only ones to really get away clean there. I know Brandon Jackson got loose out of turn 2 and ultimately set him back a little bit. But these two were really the only ones that came clean out of turn 2 for the first lap. So that's what you're seeing here.
Like I said, I think every other driver got caught up in at least something. So you see the 43 and the 69 battling for position here, battling for the 6th position.
Yeah, as I look at it, Tyler Rowland started back in the 14th spot, so I believe he started shotgun on this field. Made it all the way up into the 6th position. Looks like he's moving forward quite well.
You will definitely have to see how that momentum carries over once some of these tires are a little bit older, once the sun goes down a little bit more. Nick Nickerson, though, still your leader, and gaining, or pulling away from Ricciart Jr. Now almost a 2-second gap between the two cars. At this point, Ricciart Jr. could just be deciding to ride it out. I mean, Nick Nickerson could too, just deciding to ride it out here up front. They've got a little bit of a gap back to 3rd place and back, really. So with only 16 out of 100 laps down, really no need to push the envelope. Sure, there's going to be a caution here at some point, so just try and ride it out and save as much of your tires as you possibly can for the time being.
Yeah, so many of these guys might have run practice, but they probably didn't bank on running a full fuel load in practice and figuring out how much mileage they've gotten. So really the first time that they're figuring out how far they can go is in this first stint of the race. So they'll be able to figure out if they need to go with 2 stops or 3 stops. If they do it 2 stops, most likely the best scenario that you can choose is coming in at lap 33 and lap 66. If it's 3 stops, then you'll have to break that up differently, and it'll all be based on whether your tires are wearing out too much or whether you're able to cope with the amount of comfort in your car. So we'll have to see here which one they end up choosing here at the end of this race as well.
So now you see the 13 car of Garrett Hall heading onto pit road right now. He was just in the process of getting passed by Tyler Rowland in the 43, who we saw moving up the field rather quickly. You can also see the 29 car of Robert Mathis on pit road.
Yeah, we'll have to see if this is indicative of when their pit window is. These 2 cars leading them as the first 2 cars down pit road.
Number 13, Archer car right there. You see the 29 of Robert Mathis still getting his service done. He was a little bit behind Hall.
Yeah, he possibly had to put on some optional damage and fix his car, put some tape on the car, get the car back out there, get it competitive again.
Both H&M Motorsports drivers, though, now on pit road 1 time and out. We'll definitely be watching for some of these other drivers to come down pit road here at some point. I'm sure it won't be too long before they're on pit road.
Yeah, one thing we'll have to pay attention if they do have to make 3 stops is since they only have 2 sets of tires that they can put on. We'll have to see when and which pit stop they actually do put on the new tires. We'll have to see if they choose to do it on the 1st, the 2nd, or the 3rd stop, of whether they want to gamble and run with used tires for the time being.
If we look at the time of the stop for the 13 of Garrett Hall and the 29 of Robert Mathis, both of them only had 6-second stops, so definitely not enough time to put tires on in a short stop like that.
Yeah, we'll have to see what kind of strategy they played. Maybe they were banking on that they were a little bit behind there at the beginning, and maybe uh, catching up a little bit through pit strategy was one way of doing that.
You may be able to do that as both of them currently are 1 lap down. See Garrett Hall looking to make a move on the 43 car of Tyler Rowland.
I think Tyler Rowland's just holding them off so he doesn't have to look into those eyes whenever Garrett Hall gets past him here, if he can.
I tell you, I sure would, for sure.
So we have Garrett Hall in the Archer Vice car.
Looking to make a move, but not able to do it, it seems like. Even on the fresher tires.
See Tyler Rowland right down there on the white line, as a lot of these guys are running right through the middle, it seems.
Now Tyler Rowland looking to make a pass on the 4 car of Trey Ellis down on his inside.
Looks like Tyler Rowland's car is turning pretty well for this late in the run. He's kind of diamonding the corner a little bit, getting a straight run off the corner, and he gets under 4 of Trey Ellis. Looks like he might pull off the pass here on entry. He backs it up a little bit and scoots by. Garrett Hall follows him by as well as he gets under the 4 of Trey Ellis. So then side by side down the backstretch into turn 3. Garrett Hall doesn't make a desperate move into 3. He wants to kind of save his spot and just maintain his distance at the side of Trey Ellis. So you might see these guys side by side for quite a while here, as Garrett Hall is on the fresher of the tires, we believe. Or he is a fresher fuel load, I would say, if he didn't take tires. One thing that may do if you have quite a bit more fuel on is make your car quite a bit looser. So you might see that he potentially gets a little bit tail happy on entry, especially with a full fuel load.
See the 4 car of Trey Ellis, for now at least, able to hold the position. Keep the 13 of Garrett Hall behind him.
See the 10 of Matt Crockett running in the 9th spot.
See the Alpine Stars Liquid Death Miami Vice machine there. Looking to catch up to the 32 of Terry Condis, sitting in 8th.
A very sharp looking car out of Matt Crockett here tonight. He always seems to have something going on with this car. Always some very flashy scheme.
Now you see the number 8 car of Kevin Foster, now in 6th place after making a move on the 69 of Brandon Trogdon. The Atzo's Dream Tequila car, sponsor of last week's race.
This is just one attribute of Kevin Foster that I've noticed over the years. He's very, very patient. He lets the race come to him. I mean, we've seen it many a times throughout the season that he's slowly reeled in the leaders over a period of time and eventually ended up winning a race because of it.
He's definitely a driver that it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up near the front of the pack and wins one of these last 2 races. He's always seems to be there at the end, even if he may not lead the race like Nickerson or Ricky Hart does.
Yeah, certainly. Whenever the circumstances are a little bit more difficult than usual, he usually seems to shine.
You can see the number 2 car of Nick Nickerson ducking onto pit road right now.
We've also got first pit stop. He's coming in at lap, looks like end of lap 29.
We've also got the 52 car of Jason Greenwell on pit road, and the 13. Oh no, I'm sorry, the 69 of Brandon Trogdon heading off.
We'll have to keep an eye on Ricky Hart Jr. as well as Brandon Jackson here to see when they pit, whether they pit in the upcoming laps, or they decide to stay on the track for a little bit longer.
There's the
It's like
4 of
they're
Trey
both ending on the
Ellis,
pit road.
the 8 of Kevin Foster, both of them on pit road.
Yep, we have 2 of our leaders coming down pit road, Ricky Hart Jr., Brandon Jackson, making their first pit stop of the day. I think Ricky Hart Jr. might have actually ran out of fuel. He's running quite slow down pit road.
Yeah, Brandon Jackson passing him.
Yeah. So I think Ricky Hart Jr. ran a little bit dry. He kind of cut it a little bit too close that time. He kind of coasted into his pit stall. We'll have to see how that kind of affects him when they shake out after this pit sequence.
Yeah, I don't think that's the first time that we've seen that 64 car run a little bit dry. Also see the 35 car heading off. It's Wesley Fuller.
Now he came out right behind these guys. I have to see what kind of... I think he's a lap down right now, I believe. So I think he is 1 lap down to these 2 leaders. So
yeah, right now
he'll be wanting to get that lap back.
Right now, the 1 car or the 35 car of Wesley Fuller is going to be 1 lap down. The only driver as of right now 1 lap down. So you see the 43 car of Tyler Rowland heading off pit road. So right now, the only driver who has not pitted is the 93 of Alan Castle, and here he comes right now to make his stop.
He's getting all he can coming on the pit road, locking up the front tires. It's like Nick Nickerson will potentially resume his lead, as he once had it a few laps ago.
And there you see him take it back here on lap 33 of 100. Right now it's going to be Nick Nickerson, then Garrett Hall, Brandon Jackson, Ricky Hart Jr., and Tyler Rowland for your top 5.
Yep, you saw Garrett Hall get on those off sequence early, and it allowed him to catch up quite a distance through the pit sequence and everything. He had a very short stop that allowed him to make up some time here early and allow him to get on par with a lot of these leaders.
You see, one thing that I want to bring to everyone's attention real quick is how far out in front Nick Nickerson is. Brandon Jackson sitting in 2nd place is 7.5 seconds behind the number 2 car running out front right now. So that's a very big jump for the number 2 car and the guy fighting for 2nd place in points.
Yeah, we saw the issues with Ricky Hart Jr. earlier. Looks like he managed to fall back to 5th place here. He's running back in the 5th spot. Here's about a few seconds out of 4th here, and with Tyler Rowland. Tyler Rowland just got by the 13 of Garrett Hall to move into the 3rd spot.
Good pass for him, still working his way up through the field. The 43 car is. Ricky Hart Jr., though, one that I expect to see working up through the field here before too long. Of course, had that setback, but if I've seen him race all season, and I know that setback isn't going to hold him back for very long. Still only lap 36 of 100. He still has plenty of time to be up here at the front before this race is over.
One thing I'm noticing is the gap shrinking between Nick Nickerson and Brandon Jackson. Nick Nickerson, he pitted a little bit earlier than the other 2. Maybe he's thinking of fuel strategy now and maybe banking on saving a little bit here so that he can kind of influence his numbers that he's seeing a little bit so that he can make it all the way to the end, maybe when these guys can't.
And on screen we're looking at the 69 car. We just saw the 69 car, Brandon Trogdon, really quickly get up past the 64 Ricky Hart Jr. and then Garrett Hall. We've also seen Kevin Foster pass the 64 car Ricky Hart Jr. So Ricky Hart may be deciding that he needs to save a little bit more fuel than he has been on that first run, at least.
Yeah, these guys might have decided that they can't make it on 2 stops. They have to pick 3 stops and pick which stop they want to not take tires on, and maybe the first one was the one that they went with here, with Nick Nickerson falling back. Looks like the 99 of Brandon Jackson gets around him for the lead.
We got a change of leaders here. First time in this race today that it's anyone other than the 2 car of Nick Nickerson, other than fuel stops, and it's going to be the 99 car, Brandon Jackson, out front right now. And speaking of the 99 car of Brandon Jackson, going to a dual screen right now, of course sponsored by Materia Tattoo. You see on the left side of your screen Brandon Jackson's car, and on the right, the in-car camera view of Brandon Jackson. As you can see from that in-car camera view, the sun has fully set here at Homestead Miami Speedway in South Florida. And Brandon Jackson not only working his way to the front, but a good ways out front in front of the number 2 car of Nick Nickerson. 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds now ahead of Nick Nickerson. 6 seconds ahead of the 3rd place car of Tyler Rowland, and 11 seconds ahead of the 4th place car, the 69 of Brandon Trogdon. Speaking of him, see Trogdon behind the 35 car of Wesley Fuller. Wesley Fuller down 1 lap, as is Alan Castle. And another driver that I want to mention real quick, the 52 car of Jason Greenwell. A little bit unlucky there on the start of the race. You saw him get into a little bit of trouble. Let me head back to the main screen instead of the dual. I'm sorry about that. But a little bit of trouble there at the beginning of the race. A little bit of contact with some other drivers, but his pit cycles are
recovered nicely.
Yes, pit cycles are starting to settle out. He's up here in 6th position right now in the 52 car.
We'll have to keep an eye on the 99 of Brandon Jackson. Right now he's trying to build up his lead over the 2nd place runner of Tyler Rowland. But the car he's wanting to build up his lead over is the 2 of Nick Nickerson. He wants to build up and pad that lead so that when he makes his stop and he runs with no tires, that he can have big enough lead that he can hold off the 2 of Nick Nickerson. When Nick Nickerson is on fresh tires.
And I'd say the 99 car is doing a fairly good job right now. 6 seconds out in front of Rowland and 8 out in front of Nickerson. And definitely still has his foot on the pedal. Still extending that lead as much as he possibly can.
Yeah, certainly. Brandon Jackson always pushing all the time, especially on new tires or newer tires. Always trying to get the most pace out of his car, no matter what the circumstance, no matter if he's dead sideways or whatever. But he's always on the throttle pedal.
He's definitely a good driver when the car is sideways, and that may be an advantage here tonight, as we saw in practice how loose some of these drivers were.
Yeah, certainly. It's very free, especially when you get your car in certain circumstances throughout the corners. The car is just generally free throughout most of the corner, and you're never generally tied to the track very well. It always just feels like your car's kind of floating around these corners, and you're just being held down by the air. And if you don't have good air, then you're probably not going to get through the corner very well.
Then we just saw the 4 car of Trey Ellis pass the 99 of Jackson. Trey Ellis was 2 laps down. With that pass, he's now only 1 lap down. He's one of 3 drivers that is pitted twice now. 13 of Garrett Hall and the 29 of Mathis have also pitted twice.
Another battle we'll have to keep an eye on is Tyler Rowland is slowly closing that gap between him and Brandon Jackson. He's eating it down to about 5.2 seconds. I believe it's closer this time by about 4.8, 4.9 seconds back. He's slowly chipping away at that lead.
He is
Tyler Rowland seems very comfortable out there.
At the moment, Tyler Rowland, one of the only drivers able to keep up with the 99 car. Nick Nickerson now 10 seconds back from your leader.
Yeah, one thing I noticed with Tyler Rowland, he's very comfortable putting it right down there on that white line. As you'll see, he'll run the middle through this corner, but there are certain positions that he ends up getting down to the white line, and he's able to make it stick and not overcharge the corner, and like many of the other drivers. As you see him go down to the white line here out of 2.
Definitely a fast number 43 car right there, sitting in second position right now. And as you see, the 99 car heading onto the front straightaway this lap by lap 50 of 100, halfway through here. The Vice City 250 from Homestead Miami Speedway, presented by Materia Tattoo. A notable pass. Number 2 car of Nick Nickerson coming on pit road right now. It'll be his second stop of the day.
If he's choosing to split this into about 3 stops, I believe if he runs 25 and 25 from here on out, he'll be able to make it all the way. He just ran, I believe, somewhere around 25, or less than 25 laps that last time by, but I think he's trying to kind of split it up the way he wants it. So we'll see what happens here.
And here comes the 64 car of Ricciard Jr. A little bit quick coming in. Not sure whether he made it or not.
I think he's trying to make the longest stints of the race, the stints when he's on new tires. So that's kind of the idea of what they're trying to accomplish here. Whenever you're on new tires, you want to be on them for the longest amount of time. So maybe he'll make those stints quite a bit longer than his used tire stint.
Both of those drivers going to be getting new tires as they head back on track. But the 99 car still out front. As we look through our field, the 8 car of Kevin Foster right now sitting in 3rd position.
Yep, I said earlier if he's one to be very patient. I think he's just kind of letting the race come to him. I believe he took tires that time around, or that last pit stop. So I believe he'll have to pick and choose if he wants to go on used tires this time around, or if he is playing some superficial strategy of just saving period and potentially trying to go all the way. I doubt that's the case, but we've seen it before where he's able to stretch the fuel mileage. The 2 of Nick Nickerson comes up on the back of him. He's on fresh tires. Car has all the pace in the world right now, whereas Kevin Foster has about, I think, 25 laps on his tires right now.
That 2 car 1 lap down. Alan Castle, the only driver in front of him, 1 lap down.
Might have our leader coming down pit road here soon. Decides to stay up on the track. But I believe he's kind of signaling in chat whether he was going to coming down pit road here soon. You know, he'll have to either pick and choose whether he wants to take new tires and just fuel this time around. Maybe that's the call. Maybe he'll have a short pit stop with used tires, but ultimately he'll have to keep his pace and just maintain the gap between him and the 2 of Nick Nickerson. Nick Nickerson's the one on the freshest tires. That's the that's far up front, I guess you could call it.
99 car should be, since he should be heading on pit road any lap now. I know we've seen some action of him trying to get on the pits a couple times here this season, so hopefully he'll head in the next couple of laps. We'll be able to watch him and see if he's able to get on pit road cleanly.
Yeah, looks like many of our leaders have come down pit road. A few of them that haven't. Brandon Jackson, Tyler Rowland, Brandon Trogdon, Matt Crockett still on the track with the current set of tires. I believe we'll see Brandon Jackson come down pit road here within, I'd say, 1 or 2 laps. He's got about a 2.9 second lead over Tyler Rowland. Tyler Rowland has definitely closed in that gap over the last, say, 10, 20 laps. He's whittled it down from somewhere around 7 seconds down to about 3.
Yeah, Rowland's definitely done a very good job of keeping up with Jackson. You see Matt Crockett 27 seconds behind.
Yeah, one thing I noticed with Tyler Rowland, he does wrap that white line very well. That means he's not charging the corner. He's not using up his tires, his front tires, especially his right front tire, as much as some of these other drivers, and it's allowing him to be very steady on this long run and just chip away at the intervals of the people who are in front of him. You see the 99 of Brandon Jackson head on the pit road for his second stop of the day.
Fairly safe entry onto pit road for the 99 of Brandon Jackson. It should make the 43 car of Tyler Rowland your leader now. I would assume that we'll see him on pit road very soon as well, though.
I think the play, if he keeps staying out as much as he is, he'll most likely take tires again, but maybe gamble on the last sequence and potentially not take tires on the last sequence, but we'll see how that kind of pays off for him. I think that would be the go-to. You would kind of want to run your used set of tires on the stint that is the shortest, so that you can limit your exposure that you're actually on those used tires.
Matt Crockett from 4th position heading onto pit road now. You can see Brandon Jackson so far ahead that after he got off of pit road, still on the lead lap. Going to be sitting in 3rd place right now.
Certainly that he did stay on the lead lap, but he is behind that too of Nick Nickerson. I know Nick Nickerson pitted quite a bit earlier. He's on slightly more used tires than Brandon Jackson right now, as Brandon Jackson is on the fresh tires and should be chasing him down here soon. But we'll have to see how the interval kind of stays. We'll see if Brandon Jackson did take new tires or not. I'm not really sure.
Brandon Jackson's last stop was only 6 seconds, so I would assume that he did not take new tires on that.
Yeah, I think I can see that with the interval that he's kind of maintaining between him and Nick Nickerson. Nick Nickerson has, a few laps on his tires. Brandon Jackson has many laps on his tires, and you're kind of seeing that gap widen a little bit. But I believe that Brandon Jackson will be putting on new tires here late, as well as Nick Nickerson, so we'll kind of see this gap kind of fluctuate quite a bit over the next, I want to say 37 laps.
With Tyler Rowland heading into the pits, that's going to put Nick Nickerson as your leader once again, with Brandon Jackson closely behind him. So we look through our current running order here on lap.
Caution on the track. Yellow flag. What to see for what? I'm not exactly sure. I believe Matt Crockett got himself sideways on the front straightaway. To see how that kind of all culminated.
All right, let's see if we can get an instant replay. Oh, there he is, sideways on the front straightaway. See if we can head back to an instant replay, see what happened. Let's rewind that, see if we can get a look at it one more time. See the 10 car of Matt Crockett, the Alpine Stars Liquid Death Miami Vice car, racing with the 43 of Tyler Rowland. Now Crockett was down a lap. Very lucky for the 43 of Tyler Rowland that Crockett was able to keep it up off of him. But into the wall and a little bit of damage for the 10 car, unfortunately. So we're back live now. It's definitely going to shake things up here. Nick Nickerson, your leader. Followed by Kevin Foster, Trey Ellis, Brandon Jackson, and the 43 car of Tyler Rowland. Here's a look, while we're under caution, some of the drivers that have their camera on for today's race. Garrett Hall, Jason Greenwell, Brandon Jackson, and Matt Crockett.
Did the stream cut out again? Or
There we go, we're good to go now.
okay.
Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a hiccup, but everything good to go.
Alright, we just recently had a caution here, so we'll have to kind of figure out who has what. I know Brandon Jackson's on old tires. We'll have to see exactly how far that they can run on those tires. I believe that they were able to run somewhere around 30 laps on a fuel tank of fuel. I believe they have 33 laps left, so I don't think they can make it all the way. Brandon Jackson's ducking down pit road. We'll have to see what he does on this pit stop.
Yeah, one thing while we're sitting here under caution, I want to take a second to highlight one of the comments that I got here on Facebook. Comment said, say Nick Nickerson 10 times fast, and I'm just going to tell you that I can't do it.
Well, if you look at the first 4 letters of each of his first and last name, they do say the same thing, so it makes it quite difficult for that to happen.
99 car with a really quick stop right there. You also see the 69 car of Brandon Trogdon on pit road, as was the 29 of Robert Mathis, and the 13 of Garrett Hall heading off right now.
Gonna have some movers and shakers here on this sequence of pit stops. I believe the 8 of Kevin Foster is now placed on second place. Right up beside your number 2 of Nick Nickerson. Third is the 3 Trey Ellis as the pace car peels off and we're ready to restart this race. Nick Nickerson gets the jump.
Big jump for Nickerson. You see the 43 car right on the bumper of the 8. 64, Ricky Hart Jr. looking to take advantage down there on the inside line. 64 under Trey Ellis. Going to be side by side as they head onto the backstretch, but Nick Nickerson way out front.
Not sure what tires are on the 8 of Kevin Foster, but he did not get a good restart. Not the restart that he wanted to, at least from the front row of the field.
One thing to highlight, the 52 car of Jason Greenwell back up front, up in 5th position right now.
He's had a nice recovery. An early wall get into, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, the number 8 car, Kevin Foster, just falling back a little bit, now back to the 6th position. As Ricky Hart Jr. has taken the lead away from the 2 car of Nick Nickerson. 30 laps to go, and the 64 Materia Tattoo Toyota Camry is out in front.
He goes quite a bit faster than the 2 Nick Nickerson right now. I believe Nick Nickerson had to stay out that time by Ricky Hart Jr. I might have just pitted right before that caution. Allow him to have the freshest tires of all. So we'll have to see how that kind of pays off for him here late. I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it all the way on fuel, so that's going to be one thing we'll have to look at. He's going to have to make one more stop here if he wasn't able to get fuel this last time by.
You see the 43 of Tyler Rowland passing Nick Nickerson for 2nd position. And another driver to look at is Brandon Jackson, all the way back here in 10th position. He's looking to make the pass on the 93.
He's the car I had my eye on, especially here because he pitted late. He might try to make this all the way on fuel. He might try to pull this one off and save a few laps here early on in this pit sequence. He doesn't seem like he's charging very hard, so I think he's trying to save as much fuel as he possibly can here early in this run and eventually let it pay off for him late in this run.
So I'm past the 93 of Alan Castle, now up into 8th position. Looking to work his way up towards Kevin Foster, who's now sitting in front of him in 7th. He may be able to do it here in this next corner.
I think he's going to dive low here on Kevin Foster. Gets up beside him. Gets the car right on the inside, right down on that white line. Kevin Foster squeezes him down just a tiny bit. Keeps him from holding any momentum. Kevin Foster channels that momentum, pulls ahead a little bit. Then you'll have Brandon Jackson dive back down to the inside. Down on the white line. He slides up a little bit, right up in front of Kevin Foster. Completes the pass. Is on his way up to the 7th position.
As we look up here a little bit, here's the 29 car, Robert Mathis, sitting in 5th position right now.
He also had a nice recovery. He was all the way in the back here at the beginning of this race. He had gotten a little tangle there with Wesley Fuller as well as Kevin Foster early. He's really rebounded here late. He's on fresh tires. He's actually going after the 2 Nick Nickerson, who's got relatively used tires compared to the couple of the cars he's racing around. So he's trying to make a move here for one of the top positions. I believe is the 4th spot. Nick Nickerson has actually fallen back quite a bit from his front row restart.
Yeah, Mathis and Hall sitting in 5th and 6th right now. They've been on pit road 5 times, whereas the 2 car and Nick Nickerson has only been to pit road twice all race. Speaking of pit road, Ricky Hart Jr. in the pits right now from the lead, the 64 car.
Yep, we saw he had pitted a little bit right before that pit sequence and that caution. He knew he couldn't make it all the way on fuel. We knew he had to make at least one more stop. This is the money stop here with 23 laps to go.
No tires for the 64 as he heads off. Tyler Rowland in the 43 car, your current leader. And there's the 52 of Jason Greenwell heading on pit road right now. As is the 2 of Nick Nickerson right behind him.
We saw 2 of our top drivers just have to pit, Nick Nickerson and Ricky Hart Jr. They knew they couldn't make it all the way on fuel, so they had to make one extra pit stop over many of these runners. I know many of them might not make it all the way, but I know that they will potentially be trying here late.
"21 laps to go here now at Miami in the 43 car of Tyler Rowland, your leader, followed by the 29 of Robert Mathis and the 13 of Garrett Hall. Brandon Jackson, the 99 car, now all the way up to 4th position, looking to make a move on the 13 of Garrett Hall.
Yeah, if I'm Brandon Jackson here, I believe he pitted with about 27, but about 33 laps of fuel, or 33 laps here in the end of this race. We can run about 30 to 31 laps, I believe, to our fuel window. It means he's going to have to save quite a bit. I'm not sure if he's fully saved that amount so far, but we'll have to find out here later if he has to kind of make a quick splash of fuel, or he has to kind of really reduce his pace to be able to make up that amount of laps in fuel.
If we look at the ticker on the left side of the screen, you can see Tyler Rowland, he pitted 15 laps ago. Robert Mathis, Brandon Jackson, and Garrett Hall all pitted 13 laps ago. Then Alan Castle 15 laps ago. Kevin Foster on pit road right now, sitting in the 6th position.
See the 8 of Kevin Foster in the pit stall. Let's see how long he's on pit road.
Gonna be grabbing tires.
Right sides, left sides. Looks like a 4-tire stop.
4-tire stop, and the 8 car is gonna be off. 43 though, still out front in the Valvoline Mustang.
Yep, another player in this game. 43 of Tyler Rowland. I believe he's going to have to make one more stop. I'm not really sure exactly when he pitted the last time. We'll have to see if he's able to stretch it all the way, or whether he's going to have to make a stop here within the next few laps and kind of flip this one.
It's been 17 laps since the 43 pitted, so I'm sure he'll have to head down pit road one more time.
Yeah, he'll have to save somewhere around three or 4 laps, I believe, to get the mileage that he needs. So I don't know if he's going to be able to make that work. He'll definitely have to come down pit road here.
Now Brandon Jackson right now sitting in 4th position. You can see he was up to 2nd place, I believe. Now the 29 and the 13 of Robert Mathis and Garrett Hall have both gotten by him. The 99 car of Jackson may be saving a little bit here.
Yeah, I believe he's doing something of the sort. I think he's kind of looking around and seeing who's all around him and who he's really racing. I believe he was kind of racing the 2 Nick Nickerson, as well as the 64 Ricky Hart Jr. there as the most intense competition there earlier. So he's kind of looking around, seeing where they're at, maybe trying to make a play here and ultimately save the amount that he needs to save to maintain top spot.
You see him looking into those menacing eyes on the back of the 13 car of Garrett Hall as he looks to make the pass for 3rd position.
As you watch him going around the track, it doesn't seem like he's really saving a time. He could be saving a little bit down the straightaway, but he is maintaining pace with the 13. So I'm not really sure exactly where he's able to save. I know he's run strategy where he's kind of pushed in the clutch, going into the corner. He's done some different fuel saving techniques to ultimately save some fuel here in previous races, but we'll see if he kind of does anything similar to that over the next few laps.
'43 car of Tyler Rowland still out front, though. There you see the 4 car of Trey Ellis getting his lap back. As he heads to the inside of the 4-3.
Yep, as we said earlier, Tyler Rowland headed with 34 laps to go. I'm not very confident he can make it all the way on fuel. I think he's kind of banking on a caution or just trying to stop here late.
Some trouble for the 32 car of Terry Condis. Oh, and a little bit more trouble. But he able to save it both times before he really got too much damage, I believe. And well off the racing surface, especially now. As he heads onto pit road here on lap 88 of 100. The 32 car caution going to be out, though, on the racetrack. All right, so the caution's out as the 32 car is on pit road. Tyler Rowland, your current leader, pitted 23 laps ago. Robert Mathis, Brandon Jackson, and Garrett Hall all pitted 21 laps ago, sitting second, third, and fourth. Caution definitely throwing a wrench in things here. Now with a little over 10 laps to go in the Vice City 250 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Here yet again, we're going to take a look at dual screen with some of the guys that we have camera views with.
I think you're going to see many guys not very happy with that caution, and some other guys very happy with that caution. Is kind of shaking things up here late. So we got 14 laps to go here in this race.
See the 99 car
on the pit road.
I believe Brandon Jackson, your only taker other than the 32 of Terry Condis. Jackson with a quick stop, just topping off fuel here, making sure he has enough for the end.
Yeah, I believe he potentially could have, gotten very close to making it all the way, but he knew if he had a caution late, there was no way he was going to win the race.
As he goes to try and catch up with the rest of the field. 43 car of Tyler Rowland sitting out front. Going to be followed by the 29 car of Robert Mathis, the 13 of Garrett Hall, 93 of Alan Castle, 64 of Ricky Hart Jr., 52 of Jason Greenwell, 2 of Nick Nickerson, 4 of Trey Ellis, 99 of Brandon Jackson, and the 8 of Kevin Foster in your top 10. Those are all the cars on the lead lap at the moment. Condis, Crockett, Fuller, and Trogdon a lap down.
One thing we'll have to pay attention to right here is who has the last pit stop of the race. How many laps do each of these leaders have between now and the finish of the race, or their last pit stop and the finish of the race? That'll kind of decide who has the best tires, who has the best strategy. So we'll have to pay attention to that here. I believe Tyler Rowland still hasn't made a pit stop. I believe he is. So 34 laps on his tires. He might be trying to stretch it here. I'm not really sure.
Here Tyler Rowland trying to save as much gas as possible here under caution.
Yeah. See him pushing in the clutch. His RPM, I believe, dropping down to about 300 RPMs. That's correct, yep. You see it pops back into gear there. Pushing the clutch again. He's doing everything he can here with 10 laps to go. Pushing the clutch again. Saving that fuel.
All right, the lights
Not
are
really.
out on the pace car.
Needs to be very close. I'm not sure he saved the amount that he needed to under this pit sequence. We got 43 of Tyler Rowland in first, 29 of Robert Mathis in second, 13 of Garrett Hall in third, 93 of Alan Castle in fourth, 64 of Ricky Hart Jr. Actually, Ricky Hart Jr. in fourth, I believe. Potentially. Never mind that. Goes back to fifth. 2 of Nick Nickerson in sixth, 7th of Jason Greenwell, 99 of Brandon Jackson, 4 of Trey Ellis, and the 8 of Kevin Foster rounding out your top 10. So I believe we're about to go green here soon.
Lights are out on the pace car. 9 laps to go here. 43 car of Tyler Rowland going to be leading the field to green, as Brett said. Pace car is off, and so is the 43 car. Leading the field to green here once again at Miami, and a big jump for him. 29 of Robert Mathis trying to follow.
Definitely going to need it. 64 of Rick Hart Jr. is charging hard right now. He's up the inside here in fourth position, trying to make moves on these cars early so he can get out and get to that lead, as well as the 2 of Nick Nickerson making a dive down to the bottom.
2 of Nick Nickerson with a big move.
Puts it in the middle of these 2 cars. Looks like he has some very good tires on that car. Gets up in front of the
Jackson
64.
with a big move back behind this group. Some really fast drivers here in this pack, all trying to get up front here with 7 laps to go here at Miami.
Not sure if he saved the fuel, but Tyler Rowland out front. About a second lead over the second place runner of Nick Nickerson. We'll see if he's able to close that gap. Looks like he's closing in a tiny bit.
Rowland out front, Nickerson doing everything he can to close. Less than a second. The gap right now. Now the 13 of Garrett Hall back to the inside of Mathis, trying to make a move for the 3rd position. Ricky Hart Jr. and Brandon Jackson back behind the both of those 2. 3 wide, a little bit further back.
2 of Nick Nickerson closing in here on the lead. Tyler Rowland doing everything he can to rig the neck of this car, trying to get everything he can out of it. Nick Nickerson closing in. It's knocked it down to about half a second here. Robert Mathis running 3rd. Garrett Hall 4th. Ricky Hart Jr. 5th. So you see Brandon Jackson looking to make a move on Ricky Hart Jr. Ricky Hart Jr. dives down to the bottom in 3 and 4.
Now
trying to put a move on Garrett Hall.
The 8 car looking to the inside of Brandon Jackson. Able to make a move. And Kevin Foster going to make it 3 wide.
Definitely a late bloomer. He's definitely a late bloomer. He's making all the moves here late. He's putting it on the bottom and making up time when he has to. He just passed 3 cars right there.
Kevin Foster with a huge move. And now Nick Nickerson is going to be right on the bumper of Tyler Rowland.
Yeah, if you take a look at the lead, he's right down there on his left rear quarter panel trying to take that position away. He's got the pressure tires. He gets to the left rear quarter panel, gets that side draft off of the 43 car.
4 laps to go, and Nickerson and Rowland side by side through the corner. Nickerson looks like he's going to have the advantage. And he does. Nick Nickerson with the lead. 3 laps to go here at Miami. Tyler Rowland sitting in 2nd.
Just had that caution fly too early for the 43 of Tyler Rowland. Not able to hold off the 2 of Nick Nickerson. Just too much to overcome with those new tires.
And now with that big move, the number 8 car of Kevin Foster solidly in 3rd place here now.
Yeah, he's really making up quite a bit of time here on top top runners. We'll see how it kind of all plays out if he's able to get by the 43 of Tyler Rowland, and if he's able to do that, potentially make his run on two of Nick Nickerson. We got 2 laps to go as I head down the backstretch.
You can see the closest battle on the field here is the 99 of Brandon Jackson and the 64 of Ricky Hart Jr. Back here battling for 6th position, but not able to.
Ken Foster gets by the 43 of Tyler Rowland for 2nd.
Kevin Foster looking to make his way up to Nick Nickerson on the lead. He doesn't have much time. I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
Well, that's come down here to the turn 3 and 4 for the final time. We got the 2 of Nick Nickerson, long way out front. He's coming down here to the checkered flag. He's gonna win here at Homestead, Miami.
Nick Nickerson, the winner of the Vice City 250. Here's presented by Materia Tattoo, and a great run from the number 8 car of Kevin Foster, winding up in 2nd. As with the 43 of Tyler Rowland. Just a second, we'll get our final results here up on the screen. Nick Nickerson in the 2 car, of course, your winner. Then the 8 of Kevin Foster, the 43 of Tyler Rowland. You see Nickerson with his burnouts on the front stretch. Finishing in 4th place, the 29 car of Robert Mathis. In 5th, the 13 of Garrett Hall, H&M Motorsports, there 4th and 5th. 6th place, the 99 car of Brandon Jackson. 7th, the 64 of Ricky Hart Jr. 8th place, the 52 of Jason Greenwell, the new driver to Bandit Racing League. A strong finish for him for his first race. 9th place, the 4 car of Trey Ellis. 10th, the 93 of Alan Castle. 11th place, the 10 car of Matt Crockett. 12th, the 32 of Terry Condis. 13th, the 35 of Wesley Fuller. And in 14th, the 69 car of Brandon Trogdon. You heard Nick Nickerson blowing up after his burnout. And in just a second, we'll see who we can get here in the broadcast booth for an interview. All right, Tyler Rowland of the 43 car. This is Evan Wall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, you had the lead for a long time. Still lost a couple positions at the end, but still able to squeak out a 3rd place finish. Tell me what was going through your head there at the end of the race, how you felt when that last caution flag flew.
I didn't feel very good, Evan. I was running 3/4 throttle for a good 10-15 laps. Felt like I had plenty of fuel left and plenty of a pretty good buffer in between us. So I thought I had that, but yeah, that wasn't what I wanted to see.
Yeah, we saw you saving fuel under caution. How much fuel did you end up having there at the end, especially with all these guys breathing down your neck?
It told me I had 3.5, so who knows if that was true, but that's what it said.
Well, either way, it's a good run for you. Top 3 finish here at the Vice City 250 here at Homestead, Miami.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good race.
Anyone you want to thank here tonight?
I just thank you guys for broadcasting all this and Bill for putting it together and everybody.
All right, well, good run from you, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
All right, then finishing in 2nd position was the number 8 car of Kevin Foster. This is Evan Wall up in the booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
Saw you with a late charge there at the end. Maybe another lap or two, and you could have squeezed the win away from Nick Nickerson. How's that feel being able to get it there at the end?
well, second place is the first loser, but yeah, got the lucky dog there in my last caution, and I was able to drive up through the field, restarted 11th, and drove up to second. So it was great, but I wish I had about 2 more laps, and would have made it a little more interesting to battle Nick for the win. But great race for all the guys. Unfortunately, we had a couple cautions tonight, but definitely made the race a little more interesting there at the end. So exciting.
Yeah, certainly. We saw you get your lap back, and eventually it culminated into a second place position. What was kind of going through your head there in the middle of the race? I knew you were picking cars off one by one. You're kind of easing your way through the field, and it looked like you're very, very comfortable with saving your stuff and just kind of maintaining a certain pace until you're able to let it all out there at the end. What was kind of going through your head there at the last restart of the race when you were able to run with those guys?
In the middle part of the race, I had a lap time that I wanted to run to not burn the tires off, because you can definitely drive these cars hard and abuse the tires. Had a pace that I was running. Took care of the stuff all night. Got into the wall in the first stint, but able to get a fast repair, get the car fixed, and it was good to actually go out there and with a few laps left and just go race and have some fun.
Well, certainly. Anybody you want to thank tonight on your second place finish?
I just want to thank my sponsors, Swinner Deazzo, as always. Thank you, Jay, for stepping up, sponsoring a car this year, just like last year, and all the guys back at Mission Car Care. And that's it. Just thank you guys for broadcasting the race, putting it on. We couldn't do it without you guys, and we appreciate it. Anyone watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button. So give it a thumbs up.
Congratulations on the second place finish. That's your second place runner, Kevin Foster.
Thank you.
All right, and then tonight's winner, the number 2 car of Nick Nickerson. Nick, do you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Good. We saw you weren't sure if you were going to be able to do it. You were down there a little bit of a pass late on the 43 car of Tyler Rowland. Then you saw the 8 car of Kevin Foster. He was catching up to you quick, but didn't have time to get up there to you. What was going through your head those final couple of laps when you were battling for that lead?
I didn't think that it was honestly possible, because I had just a strategy that got thrown out the window on that first caution. But for some reason, it worked out in my favor in this race. I don't know if anybody pit for the tires that last caution on lap 90. If nobody did, then I had the freshest tires in the entire field, because I pitted probably 10 laps after everybody did during that first yellow. Maybe that was the difference, but it gave me enough speed that I can stay away from Ricky, and I was able to pass for the lead in the last 4 laps.
Yeah, we saw you were kind of on an island of your own as far as a little bit of the strategy. I know you pitted just slightly earlier than the other guys, and it looked like you're trying to play a little bit different strategy. I know Ricky Hart was on a relatively similar strategy. What was kind of going through your
we
head
had
a little bit?
we had a lot of races this year where it went all green, so I was anticipating that. So I knew that we had to pit roughly around lap 90, 93 for a gallon or two. So I decided to just split the last 50 laps in half, so 25-25, and then hopefully that would give me more time on fresh tires instead of double stinting the first time and then getting fresh tires at lap 60 and then getting fresh tires at lap 90 for 10 laps. I can have 50 laps of fresh tires. That was the plan. I think that would have worked. However, that got thrown out the window when that first caution came out. But fortunately, it worked out at the end. I mean, can't complain. I finally put one of these together. I've been messing up a lot this season.
Well, congratulations on your win here at Homestead. That's your winner, Nick Nickerson.
And I appreciate the broadcast you guys do. It's a night and day difference from the beginning of the season. I mean, it's really enjoyable to watch.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, I guess I'll catch you guys next week for the final race.
Yes, sir. That was the number 2 car of Nick Nickerson, tonight's winner of the Vice City 250 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Just real quick, I want to thank everyone that is watching here, whether you're watching it here on Facebook or you're watching it on YouTube after it gets uploaded there. But we'll be back next week, same time, same place at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the final race of the season before we head to the off season. So thank you everyone for watching, and y'all all have a great night.